Hey everybody, this is the Week 7 and Week 8 video tutorial for the online extracurricular English workshops in 7th and 8th grade in the starter curricular plan. This week I'm going to make a video for Week 7 and 8 combined, partially because they're very simple weeks, but also because I know a lot of you are doing your best to squeeze in as many sessions as you can before the end of the first semester. And so, yeah, it's important to mention that Week 7 and 8, we're not doing anything new, guys. Week 7 is basically doing a review game to sort of get students to recall and be able to redo all the things that they did over the past 6 weeks. Also to deliver the instructions for the final workshop activity, which, as you remember, is the same as the initial activity that we tried to do in the beginning. Hopefully we have a little bit better numbers this time, but I'm sure that will also be complicated by the abrupt end to the first semester. So that's Week 7, and Week 8, what we're going to be doing is it's pretty much just a session to kind of get together, make students feel, a sense of their progress, make them feel proud of themselves, kind of give closure to the experience, and also for them to complete a final survey to give us information about what their experience was like. On that note, you're probably wondering, where is the link to the final survey for students? Well, we haven't sent it to you yet. We were right on time to send it during this week, and then with the decision to end the semester early, that kind of threw things off. We do hope to get it to you by this Thursday. That's the goal that we have right now. However, if you have already done your final session with students, before you receive the link, we ask that you just send it to them afterward. Maybe ask your school counterpart if they can follow up with the students and hopefully get as many responses to it as possible, because that's very vital information that we use to try and make this a better experience for the next time around. Also, when we send you the link for students, we'll be sending a link for you to tell us about your experience and give us feedback, help us make this better, and we'll also include a link to a survey for the school counterparts. So I've actually already opened up all of the materials here for both Week 7 and Week 8. For Week 7, we have the slides file, the Week 7 slides file. We have a random team creator, and we also, that random team creator is for Review Jeopardy. And that's the main thing that we're going to do in Week 7. I have the final activity file open here, although it is also built into Week 7. And remember that there's also the PDF file in the folder as well. Just a reminder, the slides file of the final activity is for you to demonstrate the activity, give the instructions in the session, and then the PDF is for you to share with them afterward or during, so that they also have something they can look at when they're trying to do it. For Week 8, here we have the lesson plan, and in terms of materials, more than anything, it's just the Week 8 slides file. There's also, again, the final workshop activity linked in there, but I already have it open, so I'm not going to use that right now. I'm not going to open it again. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Week 7. So we start off with a while we wait activity, a vocabulary recall, as we do in the beginning of every week. For Week 7, we have articles of clothing. We have 10 different articles of clothing here. So again, this is for students to do while we're waiting for everyone to get connected. Once we have gotten through that, we'll then move on to the attendance. Done with how are you today? No new states of being this week, and hopefully by this point the students understand that they should be responding using the full sentence as opposed to just tired or happy and so on. Coach them with that. So last week we arrived to India, and this is the final week that we'll be traveling. So you can get students to give you their predictions about where will we go today. And as you can see down here, we are going down to New Zealand, but we don't reveal that yet. We let that be a surprise at the end. So in Week 7, today we will review. You can ask your students what review means, and probably a lot of them will tell you, repaso, repaso. But you can also help demonstrate that with this lovely image down here. By explaining to them that we're kind of looking in the rear view mirror. We're looking back at what we've done. So on the agenda specifically, today we have the question of the day. We have Review Jeopardy, which will be a really fun game with teams. We have the Go and Find game for those of you who are doing that, for those of you who have students who have a camera on the computer they're using, and then we're going to give instructions for the final activity. And then we'll see where we've made it to. So the question of the day, as usual, is going to be them getting a chance to employ that vocabulary that they just recalled. So what clothes are you wearing? I am wearing a t-shirt, a hat. You can see we've added the article here, so now it's not just jacket, but a jacket or a hat. And if you'd like to give your students a challenge, encourage them to use the color as well, right? I am wearing a gray sweater or, brown shoes. Get them to throw the color in there as well, if you want. So once we've gotten through the question of the day, we will jump right into Review Jeopardy. You'll see up here in the top right corner we have the random team creator linked, and I want to show you really quickly how you can use that. So here I have the link open. We're going to scroll down here to where the teams, where the students are. We're going to delete that. I have open a sample list here of students' names, so I'm going to copy their names and I'm going to paste them in here. And then I'm going to say how many groups I'd like to create. I would say ideally, depending on how many, it's going to depend on how many students are coming to your sessions. Maybe some of you only have 3 or 4 students. Maybe some of you have as many as 24. But whatever the case, I'd say you'd ideally, in a larger group, look to have teams of about 3 to 4 students on a team. So in this case, I've got, I'm going to make 4 groups, and then I click rerun. And then here I have my 4 teams created at random right in front of them so that they know that there's no bias or anything like that. So once we've created the teams, you can also do a quick check to say, show me a heart if you're on team 1, lift up the hand if you're on team 2, or so on, just to make sure that they're, kind of still with you and that they're also aware of the teams that they're on. So the way Review Jeopardy works, again, I'm going to choose, here it allows me to choose how many teams I want to be included in the game. I'm going to put 4 because I just created 4 teams. And here we have everyone, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different topics that we've covered over the past few weeks. So we have feelings, hobbies and sports, asking for and giving reasons, typical activities, and routines and frequency. So you can remind them if you'd like, give them an example of what each one of these things were so that, they might remember how to say the different things. They might remember the vocabulary, but they might not remember the title that it was under. So, when you say, asking for and giving reasons, you can say, why do you like playing, soccer? Because it makes me feel X, Y, or Z. So as you'll see down here, one of the really cool things about this website is that it actually has a scorekeeper built in. And so you can also change the team names. You'll see here, I have an example. You can ask team 1 what they want to be called. The Cool Kids, team number 2, so on. You can change the name as needed. So as usual, we're going to start off by modeling this ourselves before we start modeling it with a student and then pass the baton off to them and just kind of start doing the activity. So the instructions are that they need to choose a topic. So for example, feelings, and then 100, 200, 300, 400, or 500. As you can imagine, the difficulty increases in some way or another with the increase in points. So how is she, students? We ask a student, or maybe in this case I'm modeling first. So for example, how is she? And I would say she looks, what do we can kind of get them to answer? Excited, that's right. So let's see, as it says here, reveal the correct response with the space bar. She looks excited, or she looks happy. Great job. So then we go back to the drawing board here. And this is a tip that I would say, it's going to be hard for you to remember which student is on which team, so keep that tab open and you can flip. All right, so first we're starting off with Gabriel, and you can flip back over here. Gabriel chooses, he goes. Let's say Gabriel chooses hobbies and sports for 200. And do you like chatting on the phone? He says, I love chatting on the phone. Great, good job, Gabriel. Then you just go down here to the little plus and the points are automatically added to team 1. So like I said, it's really convenient because it has the questions, it has the answers, and it also has the scorekeeper built in, right? So if your student gets it correct, plus, and ideally, guys, we're not trying to be over scrupulous here. Really, if they're trying, give them the points more than anything. This isn't a moment to look for precision, but just to try and get them to remember the things they did and feel confident that they have in fact learned it. So let's go back to that example. Gabriel went. Now I'm going to go to Camila Fernanda in this case. And then after Camila Fernanda, I'm going to go to Noah. And then after Noah, I'm going to go to Angela Isabel. So it's team 1 person, team 1 person 1, team 2 person 1, team 3 person 1, team 4 person 1, team 1 person 2, team 2 person 2, and so on and so forth. And I usually highlight the name so that they can see it too before I flip back over here. Yeah. So it's a very easy platform or website to use. It's a fun game to play. Students usually get pretty competitive, so enjoy that. And then at the end, reveal the winner and so on. Once you have gotten through the Jeopardy activity, then you would move on to the congratulatory slide. Tell them how great they did, tell them how impressed you are. Then you have go and find for those of you who are doing that. This week we have something purple, and get them to show it on their camera. Again, though, I think most of us are not doing this because our students don't have cameras on their school computers. Then we get to the final activity. It's important to emphasize to them that this is the same activity as before, but that this time we really hope that they will do it. And so basically we have this linked in the week 7 slides file, but I also have it open over here. So just to run through this again with you, what they're doing, they're opening Reverb Chat. They're clicking the record button. They're clicking the microphone to start the recording. They're allowing their computer to use the microphone. And then, as you can see here, when we click, it says watch. That's because the video with the questions is linked here. I've actually had a lot of you tell me that the link didn't work for you, and I've double checked the link multiple times in this Google Slides file as well as in the PDF document, and it always works. I'll click it right now just for you to see. There it is.
Tu pasión por crear puede permitirte trabajar desde donde quieras, junto a tus coworkers favoritos y en la comodidad de tu uniforme.
And then there we have the questions. But if you're having issues with the link, just write to me and I can send you the same link that's right there. But anyway, we're opening up the video, allowing them to answer or we're giving them the instructions that they'll need to open the video there, respond to the questions while it's recording. Once they've responded to the questions, stop the recording, type their name and their school's name as the file name. They'll click save, and they don't need to register when that window pops up. They can just click X, and then they'll click the link to copy the link and send it to you either by email or WhatsApp. And again, a lot of you have asked us, is it okay if they just send me a WhatsApp audio? That's fine. Again, we just chose reverb.chat because it was one of the easiest recording websites to use. It doesn't require you to register or anything, but really, however the students get you that sample is just fine. We're grateful for any scores we can get. So that is, it says see you next week, but one thing to be aware of is that over here, back in the week 7 slides file, we still do have, where have we arrived to, as we usually do each week. We have arrived to New Zealand. Isn't that exciting? So what do we have in New Zealand that we're going to talk about? We have a food called hangi. It looks like a food that is made in the ground with hot coals. We have rugby, which is actually, for those of you who aren't in Chile, it's relatively popular in Chile. We might have students who play rugby, and we have, for a famous landmark, the Mount Cook National Park. And that's the end of week 7. Again, emphasize that they need to complete that activity on their own time before they come to the week 8 session. And try and make it sound as fun as you can. Then moving right along to week 8. What do we have in week 8? This is the last of the the last session of the workshop. So in week 8, we're starting off with a vocabulary recall of professions. So can you name these professions? We have chef, we have doctor, cashier, police officer, construction worker, teacher, business person, veterinarian, lawyer, and artist. Can you guess what the question of the day is going to be? We'll find out in a second. Again, no new states of being for the attendance / how are you today segment. And then in week 8, today we will say goodbye. I think it's great for you guys to encourage sort of students to feel emotions in this session. I certainly do too. Both positive emotions about how fun it was or whatnot, but also, if they're sad that it's over, that's good because it means that it meant something to them. And so hopefully you guys are all feeling a little bit of sadness as it finishes because that meant it was something that you had fun and that you'll miss. So this week agenda is really simple. We have the question of the day. We have the survey for the students. We're going to give them about 5 to 10 minutes for that. However, like I said in the beginning of this video, we have not yet sent you that link. Please hang tight. It'll be there soon. We appreciate your patience while we work through these challenges. Then we're going to have an instance to share thoughts. Your own thoughts, students' thoughts, most likely your school counterparts' thoughts, also possibly your regional representative if they attend that final session. We have our last go and find, and then we're going to take a group photo. Fun. And then we'll do the final activity again with any students who have not yet done it. And that's actually a mistake. We've made it to. We're not traveling this week. So the question of the day, what do we have this week? As you can imagine, we have, what do you want to be in the future? So we're getting students to dream. We're getting them to think about their future. And obviously, you're probably going to have students who are say, teacher, how do I say ingeniero comercial? How do I say such and such? And do your best to give them the English translation for whatever it is that they want to be when they grow up. So that's the question of the day. And then we get to the survey. So you can start off by saying to the students, what is a survey? Who knows? What is a survey? This image here should be helpful in getting them to know what it is you're referring to. But the way I usually try and phrase it, including cognates, is it's a questionnaire to collect information from participants, right? So we have cognates in there that should make it pretty clear what we're doing. By that time, hopefully you have the link already to the survey. If not, again, you can send it to them as something they'll do after the session whenever you get the link. But you'll paste that link in the chat and tell them to click on the link and go there and answer the questions. I would say they should be able to finish that survey within about no more than 10 minutes. Of course, you'll probably have some students who it takes them a little bit longer, and that's okay. But you'll paste that link into the chat and you'll get them to do it. You'll respond to their questions as they come up. And then after that, you'll once again, one last time, tell them, great job. We have one last go and find. So this week it's not a color, it's go and find and show us something that makes you feel happy. So, when we were doing this from home, we'd have students lift up their dog or their cat or their, video game control or, what have you, and show it on your camera. After that, we're going to explain to them that they're all going to receive a diploma for their participation in this activity. It'll most likely be sent from the regional representative to the school counterpart and then from the school counterpart to the students. And that might be a few weeks from now. It might take a minute because we're on the national level. We're talking around roughly 5,000-ish diplomas. So it's going to take a minute to get these all created. And it also depends on the attendance record, which isn't something that's finalized until the end. So you can tell them they will get it. It'll be virtual, but they will receive it. And then it's time to share an opinion, right? And so for me, something that I usually try to do here, I will share my opinion in English in, as simplest terms as possible. But then I'm going to also go ahead and tell them what I think in Spanish. And regardless of the language, the whole idea is to just really make them feel aware of their progress, how special you think they are, and really make them realize just what a significant thing this was. The fact that, for 8 different sessions or however many you end up doing, that they connected to, an activity where English was, where, their native tongue was not the tongue that was used, and how that was probably a little bit, daunting in the beginning, but how with time they were actually able to play games and accomplish goals and have a good time in that immersion environment. And that's big. That's really big, not just for, learning English as a foreign language, but in general. Hopefully this shows them that they're capable of taking on any challenge. And the challenges can be fun and so on. But yeah, make them feel good about themselves. Hopefully encourage them to keep learning English. And also, if English isn't so much their thing, encourage them to find their passions and just be proud of themselves. That's kind of what we're going for. After you share your opinion, get your school counterpart to share their opinion if they'd like, the regional representative as well if they're there and they would like, and absolutely students sharing their opinion as well. We have these different emojis that pop up to talk, to sort of support the fact that what we're doing here is trying to get them to share their own thoughts, their own feelings, right? So that is that. After we hear from students and they tell us what they thought, we'll go ahead and pull the screen share off and we'll take a group photo. You'll do this with your print screen or, screen capture, whatever button that is. And hopefully if they have cameras, they'll turn them on. Again, if they don't have the ability to turn on cameras, then it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's pointless. Do it anyway. At least their names will be there. But yeah, have a memento and maybe send it to them after, and also to us if you'd like. We'd love to receive your group photos. So after the group photo, say cheese. You can explain to them that, in English we say cheese because it makes you show your teeth. In Chile, actually, for those of you who aren't familiar with Chile, they say whiskey, cheese today. So finally, you can ask the students who have not submitted the final activity to stay behind. Ideally, remember that this is something similar to the initial activity. We're doing our best to get as many as we can, but we also can't force anything. So do your best to get as many. If there's still a lot of time left in the session, you can create a breakout room and pull students into it one by one and actually do the recording live with them. Right, that's also an option. But it's going to be tricky again if they're all in the school computer lab because they're kind of on the spot around their classmates, and that could be awkward. So I do think that the most ideal way to go about getting those recordings is that they do it in private on their own. But again, do your best. Once you have those final scores, please put them into the same place where you recorded the initial ones, which I think for most of you, that's all going to be in your attendance spreadsheet in the tab that says pre-post evaluation where you recorded the initial ones. But everyone, that is the end of the 8 weeks. I hope that this has been a really fun experience for you, no doubt with challenges. I guarantee it, in many different aspects, technology and, ice breaking and, teaching and things like that. But I hope that this has been a worthwhile experience for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I also hope that you have felt supported throughout the process by us. We are ever so grateful for your contribution to Chilean public education through these online extracurricular workshops. You guys are fantastic. We're really grateful. Please let us know if you have questions, and don't forget to upload your final attendance registries. Yeah. Take care, everyone, and please let us know if you have questions. Bye.